here at Restaurant Bloom today. I'm going to make a nice little salad for you. Summer salad of tomatoes, watermelon, green beans, with a little prosciutto and almond. Purpose of the salad, again, is like I said, just to celebrate the season. We have some nice varying textures in here, varying flavors. It's a little bit fun. A lot of people don't think maybe to make a salad with these ingredients, but there's an old saying, what grows together goes together, so to us it just made sense. So we're going to start by kind of getting the dressing going. It's a very simple dressing. I like simple dressings. So we're just going to do is basically a little lemon and olive oil, but we're going to start with a little sugar. We're just going to put that in the bowl with some fresh lemon juice. And the point of this is we're just going to set this aside for the time being and let that dissolve, let the acid work with the sugar. Stir it up a bit, like I said. Do a little bit more lemon juice. A little pinch of salt as well, and just a tiny pinch of pepper. So, leave that over there while we prepare the rest of the ingredients. So next, we'll go to our watermelon. This is seedless. Prefer to use seedless, obviously. It's a little bit easier. No messing with cutting out the seeds and all that junk. So I'm going to approach it any way that you want, essentially. What's nice about watermelon is you can cut it into all kinds of fun shapes. You can use a melon baller if you'd like, if you find that more interesting. But it holds its shape nicely for things like this. I mean, it's nice to make pedestals out of it as well for setting things on. But we're going to do it in little cubes today for our purposes. So very simply, just dice that up. You know, we have nice even sizes there. Kind of bite size, maybe a little larger. And then set that aside in our bowl for now. And then next, tomatoes. We have some lovely heirloom tomatoes. I'm sure everybody knows about heirloom tomatoes now. Funky shapes, fun colors, all that good stuff. And my thing with heirloom tomatoes is, you know, they're best just eaten on their own with some salt, you know, or in a salad. Or on a sandwich. I don't like to cook with them necessarily. Not that you can't, but to me, you know, a beef steak, which grows a little bit easier, costs a little bit less. That's what you're going to want to put in your pasta sauce or your tomato sauce or whatever. So for this, we're going to, again, you can just kind of approach it however you want. If you have small cherry tomatoes of all varying sizes, you can just have them. You can leave them whole. You can blanch them to remove the skin. I kind of like the skin. You know, I know some people don't care for it. But what we're going to do here is just cut these into kind of their natural shape. We want people to notice, you know, all the fun parts about it. We don't want to dice it into squares or remove the seeds. That's kind of, you know, the reason you buy heirloom tomatoes is the seeds are supposed to be a little less bitter. You know, the skin a little softer. They weren't just bred to be tough and survive shipping in a big semi. You know, you got all these fun colors here, so again, we're just going to leave them fairly large, kind of natural shapes. Obviously, we don't want the core in there, but that's really the only stipulation. So we have 3 different varieties here today. And you know, it's also nice to taste your different varieties. Like this big red one, it's going to be kind of the sweetest. This yellow one's going to have a little more acid, it's a little more firm in texture. Green zebra is another popular one. That's, you know, a very acidic tomato, really pretty green with kind of light green and yellow stripes. And that's just, you know, all those different flavors, textures, colors makes this dish fun. It takes it more than just the tomato watermelon salad. If it was just those, there'd be a whole lot of red. And then we have green beans here. Very simply just blanched. Now, blanching is a general term. I'm sure most of us know what it means by this time. But essentially, when you have to ask yourself, how long do I blanch it for? You know, how much salt do I put in the water? Blah, 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 all that. Well, it's really up to you. Put the beans in boiling water for 2 minutes to start. Take one out, test it. If it's still too hard for you, then just leave the rest in for another minute or another 2 minutes. Check them after 2 minutes. If it's still too hard for you, leave them in. If it's where you want it, then just take them out, shock them in ice water to preserve the color and stop the cooking. But essentially, this is your salad. You're cooking for your friends. You want it to be your style. You want them to eat the beans as hard or as soft as you want them. So there is no answer as to how long I cook my beans. That's entirely up to you. But the important thing is, like I said, taste them throughout the process. You know, don't just say, okay, 4 minutes, done. I mean, we may do that in a restaurant because we know we like our beans at 4 minutes or 5 minutes, but at home, may like them more, you may like them less. I mean, there's nothing wrong with leaving them raw either, if you want to do that route as well. So we just have the beans here blanched with a little salted water, and we're just gonna go ahead and throw those in. And I have proportions on the recipe, but you know, I'm really just gonna eyeball it. This is how we kind of do it in the restaurant. This would be maybe for, let's say, 2 portions in the restaurant serving. So there's our bowl. So then we're gonna go back to our dressing. You see I got some lemon seeds in there. We don't want those in the salad, obviously, so I'm gonna remove them. So our sugar's pretty much dissolved. You can still hear it's a little gritty in there. And then we're gonna take the olive oil. And, you know, again, as much as you like, this is a loose dressing. It's not gonna come together or anything. There's no emulsifiers like mustard or egg yolks. I just want it to simply assist the flavors of the salad and not overpower them. So I'm gonna give this a little taste. That's about where I want it. We're still picking up a lemon juice, got a little bit of sweetness from the sugar. The olive oil is nice, the mouthfeel's there. A little bit of fruitiness from the olive oil. Extra virgin, of course, because this is an uncooked salad, so we want to use a good quality olive oil. So then, I'm just going to spoon this in. You know, again, dress it as much or as little as you'd like. It's your preference, it's your party. You know, you can always put a little more on the table if your guests want to have some more. So, there we go with that. And actually, I'm going to toss the almonds with this. These are just sliced toasted almonds. Nothing fancy, no salt or anything. Purpose being, I like nuts for the contrast in texture and flavor. You know, it's going to add a toasty flavor because we got a lot of fresh green, you know, fruit and vegetable flavors here. So the nuts are really going to, you know, add a little complexity, a little texture, a little crunch. So we're just going to simply toss this. You know, and it looks nice. Everything's coated. I'm going to give the beans a little taste. Needs a good amount of salt. I haven't seasoned any of the vegetables yet. So a good pinch of salt. And you could just use kosher salt if you'd like, or sea salt. I mean, chunky sea salt on a tomato. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that. So it's your preference, really. And again, salt it as much or as little as you'd like. You can leave it unsalted and just finish it with a nice coarse salt when it's on the platter or the bowl or the plate. So that's about what we're looking for. So the way we would do this in the restaurant is kind of arrange this nicely in a line, let's say, just to make it, you know, a little visually appealing to people. A little, I should say a lot. I mean, look, we're not making a little visually appealing food. But you know, just alternate your colors and everything. Throw the beans in there, make sure you got a good distribution of ingredients, you know, good amount of watermelon and everything. And you know, see the shapes, the square watermelon, you know, the long green beans, you know, the kind of natural sections of the tomatoes. So I'm gonna say that's pretty good for what we would give like a serving in the restaurant. Let's do one more tomato there. And then the prosciutto. Now the point of the prosciutto is for a couple reasons. One, I really like pork products. That's the main reason. Two, in Italian culture, I'm sure a lot of us have been to an Italian restaurant or whatever and have seen prosciutto and melon. That's a very classic combination because it makes sense. Prosciutto, salty, sweet, aged, a little musty, a little funky, and then melon, which is naturally sweet, soft. Moist. And if you've never had it, it's just a great appetizer. Take a piece of cantaloupe, a piece of watermelon, wrap prosciutto around it, put it with a toothpick. It's perfect. Eat it like that. You can even throw it on the grill a little bit. So we have a nice aged prosciutto here. And I'm just going to kind of simply just tear this by hand, you know, and just place it around the salad. Again, mixed with everything, you know, because we didn't season it quite too much. So this salt in the prosciutto is really going to pick up on the rest of the flavors. And obviously, you know, there's some fat in there. I mean, that's fat, but fat creates a good mouthfeel. Makes a nice dish. So that's a good amount of prosciutto. You know, it's pretty strong stuff, so we're going to keep it fairly minimal. And plus, this dish is more about the produce than the prosciutto. The prosciutto is more of kind of an accent on the whole dish. And then we got some fresh herbs. Any fresh herbs from your garden you'd like. Obviously, I want to stick away from rosemary stick away from sage, stick away from thyme. Those are herbs that are better off when they're cooked with something necessarily, grilled with some lamb, grilled with some steaks, grilled with some chicken. So these, we just got parsley, tarragon, chive. Basil, of course, is completely appropriate. Mint, even if you want to go to a little bit more of a Middle Eastern flavor. I have some friends who love that, you know. So then with the herbs too, we're just going to do a similar treatment. Just kind of go right across the top. As many as we'd like, or as little. This is just Italian parsley, which I love. I think it's underused. A lot of people see the parsley sprig on their plates and they kind of, you know, push it off to the side, but parsley has a flavor. It is a nice flavor, and it helps to freshen your breath too. And then tarragon, of course, which is in, you know, it's got that anise flavor, which some people don't love. It's a little bit black licorice, but it's tasty, and in small amounts like that, it's a really good accent. So then I'm gonna just, for plating purposes, just kind of drizzle a little more dressing around, just to get a little out of the plate over the top. And then you can even just do a little sprinkle of fresh pepper if you'd like. Pepper and melon, obviously that's the way my grandmother eats it. I'm sure some of us have relatives who do it that way. But then that's it. Just a nice simple summer salad. As you see, it's easy to prepare. You can do that in a platter. You could do that in a large bowl for a party. Let people help themselves, and it goes great with a glass of rosé.